So, my personal special thank you to Mr. Keith Olbermann. And, as I've been saying, welcome to the resistance. This is the only real resistance. And to that effect, I would like to discuss something that, in addition to recognizing the bullshit that is being spread when people call Donald Trump support a populist message in any way, okay, and calling Donald Trump a pragmatist. You know, they said the same two things about Adolf Hitler. He was both a populist and a pragmatist. Well, you see, while those two things are very important to point out, the most important thing that's going missed in all this, the most important thing that's been going completely unacknowledged during this entire election process, one simple thing: the establishment. Are we fucking 15? Okay. Before you get your panties ruffled, okay, the reason why I'm saying this. Oh, but it's about the corruption and the blah, 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 blah. I know. I know everything you could possibly tell me, okay? I know. The thing is, did it ever occur to you that the 38% of the right-wing news media that says the government is corrupt and that we need to bring down the establishment, the 38% of that, known to be untrue news stories circulated on social media, those are the ones that have the anti-establishment shit in it, right? Like, are you clueless? But that's not even the point I want to make. The point that I actually want to make is the coincidence that hasn't even led you to an investigation. When you notice a strange coincidence happening in reality, something that shouldn't be lining up, okay, you need to investigate. But it seems people have lacked the basic awareness to understand that two different things are happening that are related to each other. Russian propaganda. Okay, take down the establishment is something that Russia wants to do. Okay? We have far-right parties and far-left parties doing exactly what's been done in Europe for 50 fucking years. And nobody's talking about how populism, and then suddenly he gets in office and he's a pragmatist. And he is, he seems to think the government can handle most of the solutions to the problems. So he's not a small government problem. He's more of a big government problem, kind of a socialist, pragmatist, populist, socialist, and you'd be a fool to not notice the fact that he's a white nationalist. So he's a pragmatist populist who happens to be a nationalist, socialist, as I believe, was it Marie Cox from MTV, now on now a real news reporter. Keith, you ought to look her up, man. Anna Marie Cox. Anyways, so what I'm trying to say here is, and it should be obvious already, I can't even believe I have to explain this, okay? We have a far right party and a far left party, okay, both trying to drive wedges in between our main political establishment parties. Okay? Now, granted, these parties need to be reformed. Something is obviously going terribly wrong with these parties. And it's been happening since about the time Vladimir Putin took power. The whole Lewinsky scandal, everything. It all revolves around 1998, okay? So, while Russia, this is just the main point, since I just gotta try to put it into a simple soundbite for you. While Russia is expanding, a country known for its propaganda divide and conquer strategy, that exact strategy happens to be unfolding here in our media, in which deceptive, far left, and far right fake news stories are being circulated in order to undermine our government. Okay, and it's not about the establishment. They're trying to undermine the government itself. Okay? This whole idea that the media has portrayed of that it's okay to be talking about tearing down the system, draining the swamp and all this bullshit. That's some dangerous rhetoric. Have you seen what some of these crazy people have been circulating about draining the swamp? They act like it's a physical purge of Congress. This is some scary shit, and we need to speak out seriously against it. Our country is under siege from a resurgent Soviet empire. Actually, I mean, if you want to be real about it, a combined Soviet Islamofascist empire. Okay? And the way these things interconnect is through ideology. It's through patriarchal ideology. And that's the reason why Christians in this country over the past 30 years have been being pushed further and further to the right and becoming effectively more and more like Muslims, like Islamic people. In fact, when you got Muslims who are more liberal than you are, my hand's just sitting there, by the way. I'm not doing any tricks with the camera. So I can move my hand all I want. I maintain just regular, normal human focus. I can do all the same motions. But, when I focus, it's trying to tell you something that's literally light bending between me and the camera. Trying to tell you something. The universe is trying to tell you something. Trying to say, don't be melodramatic.